so much more that I get.
Hey y'all, I'm Marrie. I'm the author of Table for One, Please, A Girl's Guide to Dating Herself. I'm so excited to be on Tea Time with Bunky this Thursday, January 4th at 7 p.m. to talk about my book, my upcoming projects, and what dating yourself looks like in 2024. Can't wait to see you all.
Luck, wherever you are, whenever it's right, you'll come out of nowhere and into my life.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. What's his message? Hi, Dan. All right.
Welcome to Tea Time with
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is super recent. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I missed you guys. I really did. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I'm trying to get this Instagram thing going live. I don't know if it's going live or not. I'm not sure. But anyway, welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year 2024. There are some changes going on. I have a couple of little things going on. I would like to thank and welcome my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers that have been on this journey with me now for almost 3 years. I appreciate you. You all been liking, sharing, following, and subscribing. Like I asked before, please go to my YouTube page because I'm no longer streaming on my personal Tea Time with Bunky page. No, my Kanitha page. That's not the page for Tea Time. I have a Tea Time with Bunky Facebook page. You can go there, or Tea Time with Bunky on YouTube. I'd rather you subscribe to there. And I'm now on Instagram Live. You can also catch the re-airing of the show, the live broadcast on Zeno FM on Thursdays at 8 a.m. You can catch me on Culture Shock Radio, Rockbox Radio, Radio Facero in New Mexico, WAP the Music FM, and on Sundays at 12 p.m. you can catch me on Confidence Radio. This is a different experience when you go and listen to it live. That's this show, tonight's show, you can listen to next week, and it's on Zeno FM free app. You can catch me on all your favorite podcast platforms. But I'm going to introduce my guest, tonight's guest, because I have a lot going on tonight. Tonight's guest is Miss Marrie Jefferson Jones. She is the author of Table for One, Please, A Girl's Guide to Dating Herself. This is a lot to get into. Welcome, Marrie.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Listen, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Oh, I forgot to tell the people. I forgot to tell them the last 15 minutes of the show, you guys can ask the author, the guest, a question. So if you have any questions before, I'll write them down, take notes. But you can ask her questions and she'll respond in real time. That is something new. So, Marrie, tell everybody a little bit about you because this book is interesting. Tell everybody a little bit about you.
Thank you. So I am 41 years old now. When I started writing the book, I think I was 37. I have a background in nursing and in counseling psychology. So obviously I am a caretaker. I like to help people. But the one person that I never seemed to realize that I needed to help was myself.
Facts.
And so I had been in 2 long-term relationships that were not good relationships. And I went on this journey of finding myself. And throughout that journey is where the book landed. I was working with a life coach and she was having me do some exercises and write some things down and giving me homework. And as I started writing it and I was kind of sharing parts of it with some of my friends, They were like, why did I not think about this? Why is it so hard for us to think about these things that we need to do for ourselves? And so It just kind of went from homework in my own journey to, oh my gosh, I can use this to help other people.
So therapy is the root to this book.
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. And it's this book resonates with so many. As I was having this conversation in the barbershop, not just females, but males also.
Absolutely.
Because we don't know how to date ourselves. I can't date. I can't.
And there's actually a book in the works that I am doing with a couple colleagues who are men to do a guy's guide to dating himself.
Hey, Michelle. Hey, Roberta. Okay. Now, was it hard to get, because like I told you, this is going to flip over. Was it hard to get men to open up and acknowledge that they go through this struggle? But wait, before you get to that, tell everybody a little bit about the book.
Okay.
Tell everybody a little bit.
So I like to call it an interactive book because I hate journaling. Okay. The word journaling has like terrible connotation to me. It feels so open and like I don't have any direction. So I wanted, like I say, that it's an interactive book. So it's like a workbook style. There's places to write things down. There's places to draw and color pictures. And each chapter takes you through a different part in the journey of dating yourself, including how to continue dating yourself when you're dating someone else, or how to start dating yourself if you're married or dating someone else.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
So you talk about how to continue to date yourself if you're in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't it important to date yourself first or know you before? Because people say all the time, how can you expect somebody to love you or like you if you don't even love, like, or know yourself? So
I think that is ideal. Yes.
Okay.
But I know a lot of women who have read the book who are in marriages and they didn't feel like their marriage was in its best place, or they didn't feel like it was complete. And working through the book and learning to love themselves improved their marriage.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. I was just wondering, for somebody like me who, I don't know how to date myself.
You will soon.
I was telling someone, I'm comfortable with like going to a movie or something by myself. I'm really comfortable with that. But the fact of, or the idea of, the fact of like going out to dinner or places where it looks like people are staring at you, that's hard for me.
And if that's hard for you, that doesn't have to be part of dating yourself. Okay. The main components of dating yourself is to know how you receive love. So Gary Chapman wrote a book, The 5 Love Languages. Mm-hmm. And of those 5 love languages, you need to know which 2 are the biggest ones that you feel love when someone else or yourself is giving that love to you. So like for me, it's receiving gifts and quality time. So
you have to know 2.
Yes. So one of the things that I do to date myself is I have a friend who owns a small clothing boutique. Mm-hmm. She has a budget. She knows my sizes, and she sends me a box of clothing once a month. And that is a gift to myself that I didn't have to pick out. I didn't have to go buy, and I paid for it, but I don't feel like I paid for it because, she's already got my card information, so I don't ever see the money.
So that's like those Fit Me websites.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. Is it Fit Me? I don't, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not,
like the subscription.
Yeah. But this person knows you. Oh, that's right. What's up.
Right.
Now, you collaborated on this book with Lisa Callahan?
Yes.
How did you meet her, and how did she become part of your book?
So Lisa is a life coach, and she is the life coach that I worked with when I was on the start of my journey. Uh-huh. And she's the one who gave me the homework that eventually became this book.
Okay.
And as I was going through and actually compiling things and like turning it from my homework into a book, there were several ideas and exercises that she had done with me that I was not an expert in. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to include them in the book. And so who better to write them for the book than the person who had me do them? Okay. So I approached her and asked her if she'd just add some wisdom into each chapter, and she was very happy to. And I think that just having a different perspective and a little bit different voice to help throughout this journey was really a good thing.
It is to have a different perspective. Can you tell why the journey of self-discovery is so important? Why is it so vital for someone to do that?
I think it all boils down to, if you don't know who you are, then you don't truly know what
Ashley.
you want.
Right.
Hey, Ashley, I love you. You don't truly know what you want out of life, and you don't truly know how to get there. Society gives us this idea of we're supposed to want this white picket fence and 2.5 kids and a marriage, and that's great for people that's what they want. But there's a lot of people who that's not what they want. They want a life that looks very different than what society tells us. Maybe they don't want to get married until they're 45. Maybe they don't want to have kids. Maybe they don't want to get married at all. Maybe they want to live in an RV and travel full time. And those are the things that you discover when you learn how to date yourself.
And you talked about a little earlier about the 5 love languages.
Mm-hmm.
I never finished reading it. So, so I don't even know my love language. So that's probably why I'm such a mess. Right. Yeah. That's why I'm probably such a mess right now.
I don't think you have to read it to know your love languages.
I know. But you know what? The thing is, I have to learn how to dig down deep into myself and really see me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just starting to learn to see me. So I don't think I can really truly allow, this is just me. This has nothing to do with what we talked about. Allow and appreciate someone unless I know and appreciate myself totally, see my full value.
Absolutely.
So that could be a starter, a whole bunch of self-evaluation.
Absolutely. So, and I think that boils back to another topic that's in the book about self-talk. And until we have learned how to speak to ourselves kindly, then we can't figure out how to truly move into this life that we want.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to answer one of the questions real fast because I saw it. Yes, I do write positive notes to myself all over my mirror, all over sticky notes, all over my house.
Roberta, all your questions, I'm writing them down because I don't know if you saw that. The last 15 minutes, I'm going to really be answering questions, and I'm so excited about that. So no, keep them coming. Keep the questions coming. Keep them coming. So we talked about, I had asked you about if your book guides women on how to maintain their identities throughout the different phases of their life, because we change throughout life.
Absolutely.
What I wanted in my 20s, I didn't want in my 30s and 40s, and forget it in my 50s. When I look at my 50s and look at the 20s, I'm like, so how do you maintain that identity?
I think the first part of that is having a solid knowledge of your identity. A lot of women think they know who they are, but they've never really taken the time to explore it.
Right.
So it's very easily changed if you don't have that solid foundation. I'm not saying that your personal identity won't change as you go through life, but there's some core pieces of it that really don't shift a whole lot, like your values and your morals. So knowing what those are and being able to kind of put them in words, which is part of the book, as you kind of write down those things, then you find not only do you have the building blocks of your personal identity, but you keep building it up as you go. And those things that you wanted in your 20s that aren't what you want now in your 50s are still part of your personal identity.
Right.
You've just shifted.
It just shifted.
So you built on top of them.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, well, that's not who I am anymore. Well, that is part of who you are because that brought you to here.
Right. And let you know what you're going to put up with, what you're not
right.
going to put up with. In your book, you talk about decoding, talking about the flags,
Yes.
the red flags. We all see red flags. Like everybody's been in a relationship where they're like, something's not right there. There's a flag, you know. But you mentioned like the red, the yellow, the green flags.
Yes.
All the different flags. Could you go a little bit more into that? Like what do you mean by that? Like
Sure.
the flags in the relationships.
So I think everybody does kind of know what red flags are. You know, they're the things that just make you
Those
step
are the
back
big
and
booms. Right.
say no.
Right.
Now yellow flags are the things that make you maybe pause for a second, but they're not an automatic no. So for me, when I was single, a yellow flag would be someone who had had like more than 3 jobs in 18 months, because I felt like that wasn't big stability. But there are some careers where changing jobs frequently like that until you land at the right company and the right position happens. So it's not automatically a red flag based on other information.
Someone said that to me. I know someone who changes careers frequently, right? Changes. But oh my God, man in power and position. Mm-hmm. And what he told me was, you know, like some people look at your resume and be like, okay, well, you have this longevity on the job. It looks really great, right?
Right.
But when you have a bunch of other jobs that you stayed at maybe 6 months to a year, and it's building you up to, it's like a build up to the career that you're at now.
Right.
It's showing that you have other skills. So you skill in other areas, whereas that one person that's been on that job for 20 years about to retire, they don't have all the skills and qualities that someone who hasn't been there, you know. So it makes sense when you get upset with somebody, be like, wait a minute, I've been here for 15 years and this new person just came on, but you don't see the backstory.
Right.
So that's like, okay, with the flags, what would be a green flag? Because that seems, what is the least of the flags? Because red is the big boom, the one that's right in your face. Right. So what are like little flags?
So the green is another big boom, but it's the big boom.
Okay.
So the green flags are things that you have to have in a relationship. So I've talked to a lot of women who...
Wait, the greens you have to have?
Yes.
Okay, explain that to me.
So I've talked to a lot of women who are very religious, and so they cannot be with a partner who is not willing to go to church with them.
That's what they call being equally yoked. That's like an equally yoked growing up in the church. Yeah.
For me, it was being outdoors. I love hiking. I love fishing. I could not be with someone who is like, I will refuse to go outside.
Sounds like. So that's the things you have in common, basically.
It can be the things you have in common, but it can also be just values and morals that you want your partner to have.
Okay, like, gotcha.
Green flag would be, I have to be in a relationship with someone who has never cheated.
Oh, okay.
Or I have to be in a relationship with someone who has their own reliable transportation.
Okay.
It's very subjective based on what each person wants out of life, because I could say I need to be in a relationship with someone who has their own reliable transportation, but someone who lives in New York wouldn't care about that because they've got the subway.
Right.
So it's very, very subjective to what each person wants.
Okay. So it's a personal thing.
Yes.
Okay. Those are the green flags. They're the personal things. The yellow flags are the little subtle things, the little things. Okay. And the reds are the dangerous, like stop signs. Those are the, okay. So now I can tell the difference between the flags. What are some of the key strategies for goal setting? Because you have to set goals, I think, if you're going to do this thing, right? If you're going to date yourself, you can't just wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to date myself. No, it's a process.
It is. Right? It is a process.
So how do you get in that mindset that I'm going to do this and come out of my comfort zone?
So I think a big part of it is finding accountability. And however you can find that accountability is great, because even though this is a journey of learning to date yourself, that doesn't mean that there are not other people involved. So you could find accountability from a friend or a parent or a partner. If you don't feel comfortable talking to someone else about the journey that early on, I think that buying yourself gift cards to do things is a form of accountability, because you've spent the money already. So you bought yourself a gift certificate to go get a manicure and pedicure, or you bought yourself a gift certificate to go get a massage. Well, of course you're going to do it because you already spent the money.
Yeah.
So then you just take it a step further and say, okay, well, I'm going to go get my massage, and then I'm going to not wear my traditional sweatpants and sweatshirt to go get it. I'm going to dress up a little bit, and then I'm going to go get coffee on my way home. And I'm going to sit there for an hour in the coffee shop with my book after I got my massage and read. And I'm not going to feel guilty about taking that time.
Now, is it feeling guilty, or is it fear of being alone?
I think a lot of women have guilt when they take time for themselves, because we are taught that we are not supposed to put ourselves first. We're supposed to put everyone else first.
Okay.
And eventually we end up running out of steam. So we cannot do anything for other people. Like I'm sure everybody's heard, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
Well, your cup shouldn't even be close to getting empty ever. So you've got to do those things to continue filling your cup so that you can pour into others.
Okay. Because I say that all the time about pouring into others and no one pouring into you. So maybe the dating yourself is kind of pouring back into yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's a good way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it. Do you have any like personal something you would like to share that you were like, okay, it's time to go on a date? Has anything ever happened? I mean, a self date. When I say a date, I mean a self date.
Right.
Has anything ever happened? You're like, okay, I need a date. Let me take myself on a date today, like a spontaneous date versus a planned date.
Yes. So I can always tell if I start like getting really bitchy and things like everything is just bothering me. Like I need some time.
Okay.
Because I am very obviously trying to pour from something that is empty and it's not working. So when I get to that point where like, I don't know, I step on a popcorn kernel that's on the floor and I'm just cursing the whole way down the hallway, right? That I know like this is like, I need to make some time for me. And your dates don't always have to be big things. Mm-hmm. You should try to have big dates, occasionally, but the big idea behind dating yourself is taking that time and setting it aside and not feeling the guilt for doing so.
So it's one of the main things I'm hearing is not to feel guilty, to treat yourself.
Yes.
That's one of the main. Okay. All right. So yeah, I never thought about when I do go get my eyebrows done or something like that as a date. I never thought about that. I was just in my mind, maybe it's the way to justify it to me. Like, girl, you look crazy. You need to go get your eyebrows done. Like that's how I see it. Not like as I'm just treating myself to something that, I deserve those $7 eyebrows, So that's a self date. And maybe I don't feel nervous about it because I know the person who does it and it's a one-on-one. Yeah. There's nobody looking around me. Like when I used to go get my nails done, which I don't do that anymore. It was like real awkward to me because people walking by and people looking at you. And Lord forbid getting a pedicure. Because then it's like, oh my God, everybody's watching. Maybe I should have done my feet before I came to get my feet done. It's like crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's like, even though you're surrounded by people, you're by yourself. But the worst thing I keep saying is going out to dinner or to lunch. To me, that's to me. But somebody I talked to today said that she recently did this. She went to the bar. She sat at the bar by herself. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, but that's not, you're at a bar. You're not at a table. But she said she went and sat in a booth by herself and read her book. And that's big to me. That's big to me. I don't know if
I used to go out to dinner every Thursday night by myself.
Really?
I did.
Did you switch it up though? Or did you go to the same place?
I went mostly to the same place.
Okay.
Living in a college town,
Oh.
there's not a whole lot of places that aren't overrun with college kids, and that's not the environment that I was looking for. So I pretty much just went to the same place the whole time. Also, they had really good Wi-Fi, so I would usually take my computer and I would write. And it was just a time like for me to kind of reflect on what I had gotten written that week, what I had done, but also a time for me to have, a few drinks and some good food and just be okay.
Okay. But I got to do that. I keep saying I'm going to do that.
Start
Something
slow.
like that.
Start slow.
Start slow.
Go through a drive-through.
Now, I'll do a drive-through.
But you sit in your car and eat it.
Yeah. See, if I'm in the car, that means I got to go. I don't have the patience just to sit there in my car. I don't. I'm like, that's too much. I can't do that. I can't do that. But I think maybe I can start off small with like a Dunkin' Donuts or something.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do that. Just thinking about it got my heart palpitating. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. Now, what would you say to someone who's skeptical about dating yourself? Like this can't happen, or people. Have you ever come across any skeptics?
I have. And my response is usually just try it because you really have nothing to lose.
No, you don't.
I mean, you can make things that you would normally do into dates by just taking a couple extra steps. Like I take baths regularly, like medicated baths, to help with the muscle spasms from my migraine condition. And that always felt like a chore.
Okay.
But when I started lighting a candle and buying bath salts that smelled really good and taking the time to warm my towels before I got in the bathtub and fixing, like I'll usually do like a mocktail, no alcohol, but like a fancy juice or something that I wouldn't normally drink. Well, then all of a sudden it goes from a chore that I have to do for my health to, look, I'm dating myself.
Yes.
So there really is nothing to lose in trying to date yourself for a few months.
And, I've done something like that before. Well, plenty of times. Never thought about it as a date to myself, but yeah, with the bath bombs and you just sitting there with the music and the pillow and just, I actually fell asleep I must have been exhausted, fell asleep in the tub. And what woke me up was it was cold. I guess the water got cold. Wow. And I'm like, why is it so cold? And I woke up. So that was a great date. That right there was a great date. But I didn't think about it like that. And a lot of people probably don't think about it like that, But it is, you're taking time for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And doing things that are a little bit out of the ordinary. Like if I go out to dinner by myself, I'm going to treat it like I'm going out to dinner with someone else. I'm going to get dressed up some. I'm going to put on makeup. I'm going to do those things for me that I normally would do to go out with someone else.
I have to rethink this thing. I really do, because the way you make it sound is not like how I've always played it out in my head. I think in 2024, that's going to be one of the things on my list to start dating myself. I'm going to start out small.
Yes.
Start out small. Now, you said it's taken you a couple of years to write this book.
Yes.
Right. And you said that your friends would say you ought to, why didn't I think of this or whatever? And you talked about how you don't like journaling. I love journaling personally. I think it's the best thing in the world. But this book makes it so that, is it one of those things where, because with my journals, right, I journal in color, right? Okay. You could tell how I'm feeling by my emotion by the color of the pen.
Okay.
When I'm angry and upset, and it's all in red. Oh, it's all in red. And when I'm happy and joyful, it's in purple, and then in between, I have the in-between colors. It's really a lot. But like the book, is this a type of book with the journaling that people actually want to go back and read and reflect? Because my journals, I know I don't go back and read them. I don't mess with them anymore. So I'm scared, Marrie. I'm scared of what I'm going to see. I'm like, I don't want to relive those emotions and those feelings,
Well, I mean, I think that's fair. But I think this book is a book that you will want to go back and reflect and maybe go through again. The way that it's written is allowing for you to work through the process from different starting points again and again, because things might change.
Yeah.
If a young woman who's 25 picks this book up, her date ideas might be very different than a career woman in her mid-40s.
Oh, yeah.
Because of time constraints and financial constraints and proximity to things. So I think that it's important that women do look back on this book so that they can see where they've come from and also just redetermine where they're going.
I like that. Did you have when you completed the book, before you decided to publish it, before you decided, okay, this is it? Because you have to pick out your cover. You have to come up with a book. First of all, the title of the book is catchy. It's catchy. And I love the colors on the book. But when you decided, okay, this is it, did you let the person closest to you read the book? Did you ask for opinions first, or were you afraid to?
No, so my mom is my best friend. 100%. She is the most amazing woman that I know. She's 74 years old and a professor at a university still. And she's
go ahead, Mom.
She's just a badass. So she was part of reading this from chapter 1.
Okay.
And then I let my boyfriend read it when it was done. And both of them just said that it's incredible. Now I kind of looked at him like, okay, well, you guys love me, so you have to do that. But my mom is actually a published author too. And so she gave it to a few people who she knew through her publishing journey. And those people said, oh my goodness, yes, this needs to be there isn't something like this on the marketplace today. It needs to be out there.
Oh, wow. That's big. That's big. That, number one, you have mom, you're following in her footsteps.
Yes.
You're following in mom's footsteps. And that you had professionals to actually give you kudos and look at the book and be like, no, this needs to be out there. Because there probably are books out there that just shouldn't be out there. Giving really bad advice on what you should do, because there are things like that. Now, people that don't know, because we didn't talk about it, I met you through counseling school.
Yes.
We were going through that journey together. And I have to say, that was, I think, the hardest week of my life.
Yes.
Because you do some intense therapy and counseling.
Yes.
I think then that's when I began to realize that I don't really know me. I have a lot of stuff I need to get rid of before I can really accept someone in to my life. So you mentioned the counseling part, the therapist part. This is a deep dive therapy for someone in a fun way. Like that's how I want to look at it. A fun way of doing therapy if you don't want to go see a therapist.
Absolutely. It definitely brings the therapist home to you. And in the book, while I give ideas, I do not ever say this is what you need to do, because that's not what a therapist, and that's not how life changes happen.
Right.
This happened because you have somebody who's willing to hold your hand as you walk through it.
Right.
You make the discoveries and come up with the changes that need to be made. So that's what this book was designed to do.
Okay.
It's designed for me to metaphorically be holding your hand as you walk through this self-discovery journey.
And for people that haven't gone to counseling before, like what she said, a counselor isn't going to tell you what to do. You have to do the work, which is annoying and hard because you want them to tell you what to do.
Yes.
So with this book, and you have to write it down and you're figuring it out and you're processing it, you're doing the work.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And there are some points in the book where I wrote like, okay, so that was a really deep section. You need to put the book down and go do something fun, because it does dive into previous relationships and how they affected you and where you came out on the other side. And that stuff gets really heavy. But it's important to look at what worked and didn't work previously to determine how to date yourself.
So in other words, you really have to be honest. You can't lie when you're filling this book out. Because, people try to sugarcoat it. But you're not helping yourself.
Yes.
And this is coming from someone who had multiple therapists. And because I didn't gel with the therapist, or I said what I thought I wanted them to hear.
Right.
This is a self-evaluation book.
Absolutely.
And you have to know you. And I think dating your dog, dating yourself, we'll get into that. Dating yourself, you really have to know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Maybe you'll be able to stop call them the crazies, the people coming at you to date you that don't work for you.
Mm-hmm.
When you see them coming a mile away. If you know yourself. That's if you know yourself. All right. You talked about a new project.
I do have a few new projects in the works.
Okay.
So my love of writing started with fiction, not with nonfiction. This just happened to be the first book that I got published.
A lot of questions.
So I have 3 fiction books in the works right now. 2 I am writing solo and 1 I am writing with my mom.
Oh, you're writing with your mom.
Yeah. So that project, we have my great-grandparents' love letters between each other, like to and from.
You're going to publish your great-grandparents' letters?
We are going to write a fictional historical romance based on their love letters.
Okay, so you're not telling all their business.
Not all of it.
Okay.
But we'll tell some of it.
Yeah, but people won't know. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, how crazy was that reading those letters? Did
It's
you feel like you were invading their privacy?
Yes. Yes. I think it's been easier for me because I was very young when they both passed away. So I really didn't know them very well.
Uh-huh.
But like that was my mom's grandparents. So she absolutely like had a strong relationship with them. So it's been a little bit harder for her. But we do find, we just found a letter a few days ago, working through them again, where my great grandma talked about being mad at my great grandpa. They were still courting at this point in time. And mind you, this is like in the 1910s. So
oh, wow. So like Michelle said, this sounds like a movie.
Well, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But we found a letter where she was mad at him because she had to wear a turtleneck in July because he left hickeys on her neck.
1910.
Yes.
Let me. Did this make your mother look at her grandparents differently?
I think so.
Okay. All right, because that's. I know her parents was like, "What is going on? It's 100 degrees, and you have on a turtleneck."
Right.
Oh my! I can't. Wow. Now, have you guys started that book?
We have started it. We've started kind of outlining it. We have a lot of my grandma's recipes too.
Okay.
So we're planning on including some of those throughout the book because cooking together has always been something that my mom and I have really enjoyed.
Okay.
And I think sharing some of those older recipes, things that maybe aren't made quite as frequently today, will be a lot of fun.
Okay. So passing on generational recipes.
Yes.
That's really cool. I can't believe you got letters from 1910. I've never seen a letter from 1910 before.
Yeah, they're really weird to look at because like the stamps aren't like they're not stamped.
They're not stamped.
Yeah, like the stamp is on there, but it doesn't get stamped, so you can't use it again, like the way it does today.
Right, because they make sure now you are not using that stamp.
Right. So yeah, it's really odd to look at them.
That's pretty cool. That is wow. I would love to see it. And you see it in their handwriting and their penmanship. Yo, that is all. So look, I'm all in the book. Your grandmother, she's talking about the hickeys on the neck and all that other stuff. She's probably dated herself. I wonder if she dated herself back in that era.
I think that she probably did. Like I actually recorded another podcast earlier today and we were talking about this concept, and one of the hosts on there was like, well, I see where your strong mentality comes from. Like,
right.
And I think that definitely is something that I have been exposed to in my life from my great grandma to my grandma to my mom. My mom finished her PhD as a single parent.
Kudos to mom.
So she was a definitive example of taking care of herself and doing the things that she needed to do to get to the place where she wanted to be in life.
Well, sounds like you come from a strong background of women. Yes, it does. And you know what? Right now, I'm going to go now because it's only 3 minutes before. We're going to do a new segment. You guys, wait, here we go.
Hey, everybody. It's a new segment of Tea Time with Bunky. Guess what time it is? It's time to ask the guest.
I love it.
Love it. It's so wonderful.
Thank you. It's something new. Okay, so now here are some of the questions. Yep. Michelle, you asked what the name of the book is. Is it Table for One, Please? A Girl's Guide to Dating Herself. That's the name of the book. You can get it at Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and online.
Walmart.com. Pretty much anywhere that online books are sold.
Okay, now I'm going to get back to that one. Let me go up to the top where the question started. Roberta wanted to know, a lot of these questions are from Roberta. She wanted to know, should we be mindful of our own red flags while dating ourselves?
Absolutely. I think that we all kind of know our own red flags, whether we're honest about them or not is another story.
That's the thing.
But absolutely, the time you take to date yourself, part of that could be learning what your red flags are and how to deal with them and how to better yourself from them. And knowing what your red flags are can also help you identify red flags in other people, because some people are really shady and can hide those red flags, and they drag them through the mud and then they're like, well, no, it's brown, it's not red. Then the rain comes and all of a sudden there's 6 red flags hanging up in the front yard. So absolutely, I think that you have to be mindful of that.
Okay. She also wants to know, I mean, I love that she's on here because she's asking a question. Do you allow, when you're on your date, do you allow others to interrupt? Because they say even when, not even when you're just on a date, but when you're with your family and dinner or whatever, like they try to get people to turn their phones off, flip your phone over. So, she said, masseuses talks too much or you get hit. Okay, well, accepting phone calls. Right. So, well, I've never been not even, look, that was my alarm. So, should you allow people to interrupt your dates?
I think that it depends on what you're looking for out of the date. So, I don't know that I have ever had a massage where if I walked in and said, I really need a quiet massage, they haven't complied with that.
Okay.
I also have date time for me where I need to get some things out. So going to see a masseuse or going to get a mani-pedi and being able to talk about some things to someone who is not like a constant person in my life has been a great date. But I do try to not take phone calls, not answer text messages. The getting hit on, that's another reason why I always went to the same place to eat by myself, because I knew the bartender there and I knew that he would make sure that I was left alone.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. He's like your eyes and your ears around you. So he knows what's going on. And he's like, okay, she's over here by herself. Let me keep an eye on her.
Right. And I could always drop my drink off with him at the bar and he would hold it like if I have to go to the bathroom.
Right. Because you can't leave a drink out.
Right.
You never know. But
exactly.
These people do. This isn't a question, but this is a good point right here. Roberta has said the sad thing is we forget how beautiful we are with our scars. She used to date herself, to be honest, and the last time she did it, she was pregnant and allowed her single motherhood become her shame because people were looking at her. I get that. You're by yourself, you're pregnant or whatever, and people instantly gonna look at your fingers. Because I was a single mom. Well, I married my husband, but they look at your finger and there's instant judgment. They don't know what's going on, especially this isn't you, especially if you're an African-American woman. They're going to look at you like, oh, single moms, and like all the things go through your head. And when you're talking about scars, it could be like physical scars. Because if you look at TikTok or whatever, like I give people on TikTok kudos that go on there that have there's this one guy that I follow. He was burned severely, but he's on TikTok and it's not a bad thing. And I don't know if people on there to laugh at him or whatever, but I watch his content and it's like, wow, you're so strong. Like that's how I look at it. But if it was me, I don't know how I would feel. So to be out in public,
I can understand that. And Roberta, I want to say that I hate the fact that you felt like people were looking at you. And if people were, that's not right. Single moms are, I think, about the closest thing to God that you can come to on earth. And I hope that you do know that you're beautiful.
Oh, she knows she's the bomb. She knows that. She knows.
And that you will start dating yourself again because you do deserve it.
Yeah. And she who was it? Yeah, it was Roberta. She was the one communicating, so she's getting all the, and she was like, the great idea, the great bath or shower, all the music, and then great smelling oils, pretty PJs, and a warm blanket to snuggle. Now that's my type of date.
Absolutely.
That is because I'm not out in the public eye. Now something like that I'll do. And it's a shameless plug. She's talking about the oils. I just bought this oil. I don't know. Do you be on TikTok?
Yes.
Do you see that oil? There's this oil. It's in the gold. I don't want to get up because it'll mess this up. It's written in Arabic, I believe. Did you see it? I don't think I have. Lisa told me it was all over my timeline, and it just was flooding my timeline. Maybe because I kept watching it and I liked it, commented. Yeah, the algorithms. It makes sense. Right. And people were doing their views. Oh, it smells so good and whatever. But after months and months of seeing this, I bought it. TikTok made me buy it. It was one of those, my first and only. And let me tell you, when I saw this, the smelling oils, oh my God, this stuff is mind blowing. So if you guys are on TikTok, I can't even tell you the name of it because I can't pronounce it, but the English version translation means beauty. Lisa looked it up for me. So yeah, so that's a self date.
Absolutely. And that's a great date idea.
That's an amazing great idea.
And like I said before, like the way that you turn something that you would do every day into a date is just that intentionality and adding those couple extra things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go buy yourself some new pajamas for that night.
What? Yes, I do that. And some soft socks.
Yes. And then it goes from, oh, I'm just going to take a bath and get ready for bed to I am taking this 2 hours to get ready, have a wonderful time by myself.
Yep.
And put on these great PJs that I just bought.
Yes. So there's nothing like new fresh pajamas.
No.
With nice, especially if you can't afford to just go out and buy a new comforter set, because that just brings the date to a whole new level when you got a whole new bed set on. So you in the bed with the fresh sheets and the new comforter set and the new pajama. Oh my God. See, because I'm not out in public. Stuff like that, I like to do it. It sounds corny, but
not at all. I very rarely go out in public for my dates anymore. I will order food in, or I will get new pajamas and take a long hot bath and watch a movie that I want. And even living with my significant other, I can do those things because he has his own interests. So
now, I've seen you do that.
Yeah.
It's on Snapchat. I don't know if it's Snapchat, you will post like the bottom of your feet, like that angle.
Yeah.
And you'll have a glass or you have a plate or something. And I've seen it where you were watching a movie and it looked like the scene was set. It looked like a date.
Yep.
So you really do it. So I can say I've seen you do it. I'm like, oh, that looks really comfortable. Roberta wants to know, what did you learn about self-grace or self-forgiveness during your journey while you was doing this?
I learned that it is a very important part of learning who you are and how to love yourself. It also might be the hardest part of learning who you are and how to love yourself. But I just went back to an exercise that I have done time and time again, where if I need to forgive myself, I think about like whatever I need to forgive myself for, whatever grace I need to give myself, and picture it as the younger me. I would never hold a grudge against the younger me. I would never not forgive the younger me for something.
You know that? That's really powerful right there. That right there is really powerful. So I'm really glad that Roberta asked that question. And you saying not holding a grudge against the younger you, because when we're young, we really don't know. We don't really know what we're doing. You're welcome, Roberta. We don't know what we're doing, and we do some really messed up things when we're young, and we'll hold grudges against people not knowing their backstory. And then when you get older and you learn different things and you see things, or family have told you what happened, or just through trial and error, if you beat yourself up continually for what you did in your younger self, there's no way you can be a whole person today. Like we're already, as Roberta said, we have our scars or whatever, but you are scarred up and fractured and broken, and so this dating yourself with a Band-Aid on is
or maybe it's not a Band-Aid. Maybe you are picking up the broken pieces and gluing them back together differently and making a beautiful mosaic of who you have become now.
Yes. Like that too, girl. You're killing it. Yes. You're absolutely right. Not a Band-Aid, because a Band-Aid will come off, but gluing it into a new, beautiful masterpiece.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay. So Roberta also wants to know, how do you balance between isolation and community? I can answer that one too. We can both answer that one.
I think that I can go first, or you can go first. I don't care. I think we both have the same answer.
Well, I my balance between isolation and community, I was always a loner, kind of, I would say, like a loner. So I didn't really ever go out, so I can't miss what I never did or never had. This right here is like the most, I always knew that there was community. I always knew that. Now I'm becoming more involved with community than I ever have in my life since COVID. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm just still really scared. I'm really scared of, I'm scared of dating. I really am, because it's not just because I don't know me. I don't know them. Like, that's the problem. I know me to a certain extent, but I don't know you. So if I hardly know me, how am I going to trust you? Because you could tell me anything. That's the way my mind works. I need to journal again. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Continuing on with that, I think that part of discovering who you are and dating yourself is that you learn how you deserve to be treated. And we all deserve to be treated like queens. And when you learn that you deserve to be treated that way, then when somebody else is not treating you that way, it is so much easier to say goodbye.
But is it? I mean, because in your mind, I'm speaking from self, you know what you know. Okay, this is the younger self. This isn't today, Bunky. The younger self had, I mean, not even flags. I mean, red blankets. Blankets going off like, yo, girl, stop, cut it out, get out of this. But I didn't think, now I see, I didn't think I deserved it better. I didn't know my worth,
Absolutely.
In your mind, you're like, nobody else is going to want to be with me or whatever. I got this person. They look pretty good, so let me hang on to them. So, yeah, sometimes.
That's where you build with dating yourself. Not only do you discover your worth, but you learn how to add tax to that. So somebody really wants to be with you, they're going to step up to the plate and they're going to do those things that show you not only that they value you, but that they know your worth as well.
Alicia said it best. She said it. Your younger you is your greatest teacher. Yeah. We learn through experience. If I didn't go through some of the things that I went through as my younger self, I wouldn't really know that red flag is a red flag. Mm-hmm.
If I hadn't, this book came out of 2 abusive relationships. And the second one happened because I did not take time to heal from the first. And I was still very negative in my self-talk and I did not know my worth. And so I immediately got into another abusive relationship. And had I not been through those experiences, this book would not be here today. And so the things that I learned as my younger self, making decisions that I look back now and think, man, those were not smart decisions to make.
Right.
Brought me to this place where I can help other women to be able to work through the process of making decisions that are better for them.
That makes sense. It makes sense how everything came about. You had to go through something for it to be like, okay, you got hurt, you went to therapy, started all of this, and people was like, that's a book. First of all, I'll give you kudos for sharing it.
Thank you.
Kudos for that, because I would never share my journals. I wouldn't. Like I said, I don't even reread them. I have a bunch of them. I don't even reread them. Maybe I need to go back. Before we close out, are there any final thoughts and messages that you would like to leave with the listeners about enjoying your own company? You gotta enjoy your own company.
You do.
Don't like you. How do you expect somebody else to like you?
Well, and you're kind of stuck with you.
Right.
So I think that that's just the most important thing, is that like you're going to be with yourself for hopefully a very long time.
Yes.
And so you the idea of dating yourself is important for the external relationships in your life too. And while the book kind of focuses on the romantic, it also talks about that this doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. It applies to family relationships and friend relationships and work relationships.
Right.
Because that idea of balance is just key in all relationships of our lives. But when you truly learn to enjoy your own company, you are happy anywhere you are.
Yeah. And I see people like that all the time. All right. Well, no, I appreciate you. I thank you so much for taking the time out and coming on Tea Time with Bunky. I wish nothing but big things for you. And that story with your mom, the book, that's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you.
So people can find you on Facebook and Instagram.
And TikTok.
And do you let people join your Snap, or is that private?
No, I let people join my Snap.
Okay, so she's all over the place, y'all. You can go and find her all over the place. I appreciate you all so much. So I'm going to close this out with the new way I'm closing out Tea Time with Bunky.
I'm so excited.
Yes, so I appreciate you all. Make sure you tune in next week. I got a good show. I'm deciding to know if I'm going live. When I say live, I mean from the blue couch. That's live and in person with my guests. I got to see this. COVID is going crazy. So we'll see. But next week's guest, you got to tune in to see. And remember, I am not going live on my personal Tea Time, my personal Kanitha page. No more of that, just my Tea Time pages because of everything that happened before. So on that note, we're going to end out with this last message. And I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful night.
Hey guys, thanks for joining my interview on Tea Time with Bunky. It was great to be here. If you want to pick up a copy of my book, you can get it online wherever books are sold, Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble. And I hope you guys enjoyed the interview, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Thanks.
Good night, everyone.